Hey guys, it's Kyle down here at Lunicycle. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the encoder on the Talaria XXX motor. Replacing the motor encoder is not a simple task, so you want to be sure you've checked every other possibility before replacing this. You do want to take a really close look at your harness and the connector coming off of the encoder and be sure all these pins are seated properly, be sure there's no damage to the wires or the harness. But if your motor is stuttering and you've already tried everything, then you may need to replace the encoder. The encoder senses what position the motor is at and allows it to start off smoothly. If this has gone bad, you will get stuttering when you try to throttle the bike. If it's really bad, it'll give you error 40, and that means it's totally failed. But some of the times we've seen one of these pins come out and you just reinsert the pin or fix the wiring damage, and then you're good to go. But if you do need to replace the encoder, we do sell them. There's a link in the description where you can get them, and this is how you replace it. So you start by removing this little cover right here, and you want to mark the position of the current encoder, just like that. So I'm marking where this little connector goes. Before you replace it, you do want to try loosening these 3 screws here and just rotating this left, trying the bike, rotating it right, trying the bike, and seeing if that fixes it. We have had that fix some stuttering motors in the past. But if that doesn't fix it, you do need to pick the silicone off of these 3 screws here. You're also going to need to unthread this waterproofing connector here. And on the XXX, you need to remove this motor bolt right here. It's in a terrible spot. It prevents you from opening this. So we're going to start by removing this motor bolt. And then with an 18 mil open wrench, you're going to remove this connector, this little waterproofing connector. You can pick this little seal out of here. And because this connector won't fit through this hole, you're going to cut this. Be sure not to throw this away. You're going to need this when you repin your new connector. You'll need to copy where the wires go. Just cut that and set it aside for now. Alright, now some kid already opened this one and tried to play around with it, so he damaged all of these screw heads, so I'm going to try to get these out. Alright, this wire coming out of the motor core is the temperature sensor wire. You are going to need to solder this onto the new board. So you can go ahead and see that red is on the top side, black is on the bottom. Go ahead and cut these off of the old encoder. Now if you happen to have a total temp sensor failure where this sensor inside the motor is bad, you can put a little resistor right here and it'll allow your bike to work. It won't read temperature anymore, but with the stock controller, these motors are impossible to overheat. So, alright, so once you've cut the temp sensor wire off, you can fully remove this old encoder. Alright, you can then take your new encoder. Actually, while you're at it, it doesn't hurt to check and see. This is the magnet. It tells the sensor what position it's at. Just check and see that this magnet didn't come loose. If it did come loose, just glue it back into place. But it's pretty rare those come loose. Alright, so now you have your XXX style encoder. This is also the same as the MX4 and, believe it or not, the MX3. I've installed these on the MX3 and they work perfect. The only difference is the connector. So if you can't find an actual MX4 one anywhere, this is identical except for the connector. So you could actually chop your old connector off your MX4 motor and just reconnect it color for color. Everything matches up except for the connector itself. So if you're really good, you could repin this and use your existing connector, or you could just cut it and make the connections right here. So it's red to red, yellow to yellow, etc. There we go. Alright, so we've got our new encoder in there. We're just going to put it in roughly the same spot. Before you seal this back up, you are going to want to ride your bike with this exposed to make tiny little tweaks and adjustments. And also once you're done, you'll definitely want to run the calibration feature on the display of the bike. Alright, now it's time to attach the connector to the new encoder. You do want to be sure to install the little rubber piece which waterproofs this and the metal cap. Alright, it also comes with a small piece of heat shrink you can put on here. Alright, then grab your old connector and you're going to want to copy the wire orientation. So we have our new connector here, we're going to hold it up. See this little clip on the top? So you're going to want to match up, we're going to do black, purple, white on the top row. And you'll see here on each one of these little pins, one side is elevated like that. The elevated side goes towards the top. And you'll hear it just click into place. Alright, now we're going to do the bottom row. And the bottom row is yellow, green, blue, red. Alright, you can then shrink down, heat shrink. Some people put some silicone on here to keep water from getting into here. You can shrink this down, and then lastly we're going to go ahead and solder this to those two little rings right there. You're going to do red and black. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and strip some of this insulation off of these temp sensor wires. And then we're going to solder it to the new encoder. We're going to do the black one on the bottom and the red one on the top. Alright guys, now that you've successfully installed the new motor encoder, don't forget to reinstall this little motor bolt. Before you seal this up, go ahead and test ride it and then make small adjustments after doing the match. It may work perfect. You may need to tweak this left or right a little bit and then secure down the 3 bolts. As far as sealing this up, there is a little O-ring that comes right here. Since you already have this opened up, it is good to put some RTV or some silicone on here. It can make this even more waterproof. And I have this off the bike for filming purposes. You can just lay your bike on the side and do this still installed.